This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Wow, today's topic is on light. From Matthew 5:14, it says, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden." And today I wake up, I'm in Steubenville, Ohio, about to head over to Pittsburgh, and I am looking out at this hill to this drive that goes up to the beautiful Franciscan University. And occasionally I'll see monks walking down the street here in Steubenville, kind of a throwback to the old world. It's very, very, very cool little part of of Ohio. But today we're going to talk about light, because one of the things that happened this morning was I woke up in a hotel room with a window and daylight came in, right? For somebody that lives in a camper inside of our plumbing shop right now, that is not necessarily what I see every day. I actually have a artificial light that kind of does the sunrise effect, and then I have my LED lights scheduled to come on at a certain time, and all of that is to help me get my body acclimated to getting up even though there's not any natural daylight, right? So we often severely underestimate the value of having daylight in our lives. It's a natural vitamin. It provides you vitamin D. Vitamin D helps with your mood, your temperament, your euphoria. And they say those that work night shifts have to either add up during the day their daily vitamin D intake by supplement, or they also, if they don't, they battle severe depressions, things like that. So these are things that are so important about light. But the beautiful part for me is the light casts out darkness. So think about a pitch black sky. Last night we were driving in here to Steubenville. It was dark. We had turned off of a road from Columbus, a highway off of Columbus, and it took us through some dark, dark, dark countryside. Like it was the headlights on our car and the eyeballs of the deer standing on the side of the road was the only reflecting thing until I looked up. And there was a lot of cloud cover, but every once in a while you would get a peek of the stars behind the clouds. And I have a sign that used to hang in my office, and it says, "Stars shine their brightest on the darkest of days." That's what being a light is. That's what being bright and brilliant is all about, right? It's shining your light unapologetically into those dark places. In the middle of some things that went on last night, some things going on today, I'm talking with one of my coaches, and as I'm talking with her, she is being that light to me. She is giving me tidbits, advice, comments. I'm talking with one of my friends, my best friend. She's giving me tips and advice, and those are bright lights. They're not pulling back. They're not holding back. So a lot of my life, from the time I left high school, I thought I was a background player. I thought I was more like ambient lighting. I would set the ambiance for the room, but I wasn't really like the spotlight of the room. I've started to realize over the last few years that I am naturally a spotlight in a room. When I arrive in a room, there is a natural spotlight that comes to me. And I'm not saying this in a conceited way. I'm saying this from a very humble spirit, because I'm not comfortable accepting that role of being that type of a bright light. It's an uncomfortable feeling for me. But being that bright light means that my voice, my actions, my influence all carries weight to those who my light shines on, right? So the one of the challenge questions is today is, where have you been hiding your light? For me, a lot of the times it was in the corner of a room. I would show up, I'd walk into a room, and I'd hide in the closest corner I could so I could watch everything that was going on. And a lot of that was part of my trauma response. I would put my back up against a wall so nobody could come at me, and I had full view of everything that was going on in the room and where all the egress spots were, right? Now, I walk into a room, I might still make mental note of where egress spots are, who's in the room, but I'm in the middle of the room now. I am using stars and planets, I am doing all the orbiting around the room. I am doing all the maneuvering around the room. So I don't hide my light anymore. So where are you hiding yours? Maybe it's in your marriage. Maybe it's at work. Maybe it's with your talents and abilities that you're keeping hidden because somebody else already does that job. But what you don't know is they're just looking for somebody to show their talents and abilities so they can release that job off to somebody else. When I managed volunteer teams at our church, I was always looking for who was going to replace me. I was always looking for that cream that was bubbling to the top, that was shining just a little bit brighter than all the rest, that really was showing the responsibility, the talent, the skill set, that if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, if I decided to step away from that role, who was going to come in and take my place? So much so that I would create steps underneath me so that I would get some one-on-one mentoring with them for them to not just take over my role, but to take that role and make it theirs, so that they knew what the benchmarks of success were, what the end result were, what the stepping stones were that were the key milestones on the way to that success. And then they could make it whatever they needed to make it with their talents, their abilities, their skill sets, their bright light that they shined into that situation, right? So make sure that when you're looking to shine your bright light, don't shine it so bright that you drown out everybody else's, but that you join forces to cast a wider canopy of light. Does that make sense? You don't want your light on top of somebody else's light. You want your light to be an extension of those around you. What would it look like to shine unapologetically today? Ooh, be joyful. Be joyful in the moment. Share your input. Share your smile. Walk boldly. Walk confidently. Have people looking at you, wondering what you're so joyful about. Yesterday, we walked into a Skyline chili restaurant just outside of Cincinnati to eat dinner. Never been there before, never had Skyline chili before. We always try and eat something that we don't normally eat. I don't know that choosing chili on a 24-hour road trip was probably the best idea, but we were punch drunk at the time. Mike and I were laughing and joking and picking on each other when we walked into the restaurant, and this 25-year-old little waitress that was waiting on us, she was like, "How long have y'all been together?" And I'm like, 33 years. The reason she's asking the question is because something that was going on between us was magnetic. It was still magnetic last night when we arrived at our hotel, and our guy that checked us in, Mike and I were still doing our fun little joking back and forth. We weren't arguing. We weren't being mean to each other. We were just joking back and forth. And the guy behind the counter asked again, "How long have y'all been together?" 33 years. It's the light of our relationship was showing something different that they couldn't quite put their finger on. And they couldn't quite identify, but it was different. So your light may not be the brightest light out there. It may be more of a specialty light. I have in the camper behind me, you may see I have the LED strip lights. Those can turn all sorts of different colors, blue, red, purple. They can blink. They can do all sorts of stuff. Being a light of the world, show up as your light the way you are. Sometimes it's a loud light, sometimes it's a dim light, but the light, that the darkness that it's casting out, is still the same. And then how can you use your influence to light someone else's path? This happened this morning. Like I said, I've on call on my Voxer with my own coaches this morning. And while I've been on Voxer with them, they've given me some great tips, some great advice for things that I'm dealing with right now, personal and professional. My best friend, she gave me some great advice to check in on some things, to help me. So they are shining their light and influencing us right now while we're in the midst of some heavy personal stuff going on. But they're also making sure I stay focused on what's going on with the business stuff too. So they're shining their light in a way that's supporting me in my areas that I feel weak right now. So again, today's verse is Matthew 5:14. You are the light of the world, a town built on a hill that cannot be hidden. And remember that old hymn song that we used to, or children's song we used to sing, This Little Light of Mine? Well, it's not this little light of mine. It's this little light of me. You are the light. It says you are the light of the world. So go out, shine your light, be unapologetically joyful today, and influence those around you with the love of Christ that you carry in your heart. And that's going to do it for today. And Monday, we're going to talk about gratitude. So see you then. Bye.